And for me personally, I derive a lot of encouragement and pleasure, and at the same time, a lot of inspiration from Prabhuji. I was fortunate enough to be get I got enough chance to get associated with him, and since late 1999 in ISKCON Pune, the way Prabhuji groomed the devotees over there, we always felt secure under his leadership. And I would like to tell, he has many qualities, and I would like to talk about two of them. One is the leadership quality and his humility. I remember once in 2007 or 8, there was a devotee who came from UAE to meet us, to meet me in temple. So we invited him for prasadam, and so those days we used to sit everyone together for lunch prasadam. And when we were doing that, devotees were serving prasadam chapatis to us, and he told me, he said that, is there any chance that I can meet Radheshyam Prabhu? And those days, social media was not so popular, and there were very rare images available on internet. So I told him, haven't you seen him? He said, no. And I told, just now he served chapati to you. And he said, oh, are you sure he's Radheshyam Prabhu? I said, yeah, he's the temple president over here. And he couldn't believe it. So Prabhuji was always inspiring and leading us from front. And I'm so happy. I take a great pleasure and joy to see how devotees who were with us that time in temple, under his able guidance, are able to guide others now. So without further ado, I would like to hand over to Radheshyam Prabhuji. And thank you very much, Prabhuji, once again for addressing us.
Thank you. I can do a short kirtan and then begin.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Panachari Yamuna Tira Panachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everybody, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे, निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. This is Ananteshwar Prabhu has been in Pune before he came to Houston. For many years, he was actually working with us at ISKCON Pune, taking care of the computers and laptops of uh, more than 100 devotees. And he was also working in an IT company. And apart from his job, he would come and spend several hours in the temple. Later on, he practically was like a full-time devotee in Pune. So when he and his wife was a very great preacher, uh, and she would answer hundreds of questions by WhatsApp and email to many people. So both of them decided to go to the West. We it was a big loss for Pune and gain for Houston. Very active devotee, very dynamic devotee. So when he invited me now, I couldn't say no, although I have a schedule of multiple programs here in India. Very happy to be with all of you this evening here. And for you, it must be morning time now. Probably. What is the time now there? And they should be 8 o'clock.
It's 6:42.
You all have sacrificed your chanting time for this talk. Very kind of you to join the session today. So this is the topic I had sent him: remaining steady in times of turbulence. This is although it looks like academic students, undergoing various challenges. The topic will not be for newcomers. It's going to be for senior devotees, as many of you have been practicing for many years, Krishna consciousness. So I will be speaking from that point of view. So there are two words here, if you see: steady and turbulence. So we want to have our mind steady, even in turbulent situation. And why is turbulence produced? Turbulence is often produced when some unexpected reversals come in our life. We are not mentally prepared for it. And when it happens, we are shell shocked, not able to, gather up ourselves, and not able to muster enough confidence to face it, because it became like a guerrilla warfare, we call it. You know what's guerrilla warfare? Guerrilla warfare means somebody is ambushing you, like somebody is in the hiding and suddenly they come and slap you on the face. You didn't anticipate it. So that kind of thing, when it happens in somebody's life, it's a shock for them. Like in the COVID time, somebody lost their very near and dear ones. Somebody lost their very important member of the family, like father or a son or a daughter or somebody like that. So, or wife. So it's extremely painful for people because they never anticipated it. Without anticipating when it comes in life. So that causes turbulence in the mind and the heart and the body and everything. It appears that the whole world has become blackout. How will I continue to exist anymore without that important member in my life? So then from that kind of situation, how to come to a steady situation? So that you will get many pointers in today's seminar. Similarly, there are some people who have a Vartma Pradesha Guru. Somebody introduced you to Krishna consciousness. And then after introducing you, after some time you don't find them. They are not there. Where are they? So then you feel very sorry to be missing them. They might have brought you, but they have not survived. They have gone away. So that's a very shocking thing. Similarly, sometimes you are being escorted by somebody, and they face certain challenges in their life, and their challenge affects you also. And they face challenges in their life, that challenge affects you, and you become shaken, especially when near and dear ones are undergoing some challenges in life. For example, say some one of the family members is undergoing some chemotherapy or some cancer, first stage or second stage cancer. For all other family members, it's a kind of very fearful state. And they want to know whether they will completely come out of it and become hale and healthy again as before, or will this cancer spread in the body irreversibly? That causes turmoil also. So there's a constant fear how to face such kinds of reversals. One time His Holiness Indradumna Swami Maharaj shared one incident from his life. When he was traveling from place to place, one time suddenly he saw one kind of, what do you call this? Uh, huh? All protruded portion from the uh, flesh. It was appearing like extra portion in the flesh in his hand somewhere. What do you call it? I don't know. In very simple English, there's a word for that.
Tag, skin tag,
What do you call it? Like you have, yeah,
skin
tumor,
tag.
tumor type of thing, small tumor type of thing. He found it coming up. So he just went to a hospital and to just show it, what is it? They told him that there are two types of tumors. One is called malignant and another one is benign. The malignant is a very dangerous one. It can be fatal. It can take away life also within a very short time. His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Swami had a malignant tumor. So, and then another one is called benign. That looks like tumor, but it is not harmful. It may just exist. You don't have to do anything with it. You just forget it. It won't cause any harm. So Maharaj saw that. It happened to be a Friday. So then Maharaj asked them, what is to be done? Is it some kind of tissue which can be removed? They said, no. If it is malignant, it is a very serious thing. It is practically irreversible. It just eats up the whole body very fastly. So then he asked, then what is the solution? What is to be done? They said, we will first test it, what it is. Is it malignant or benign? We will check it. We can take a test for you if you wish. He said, yes, immediately take it. So immediately they took the test. And they said, now we have to process what we have diagnosed now. And that will require some few hours. It will take some time, they said. So at least we can give it tomorrow, they said. So at least it will take 1 or 2 days, they told him. But we'll try tomorrow. Then Maharaj says he was coming back to his apartment. Then all the devotees are having bouquets in their hands and to welcome him. Maharaj said, everybody appeared blurred for me. There was only one thing in my mind. What about this? What is this tumor going to be? Prabhupada, I have so many duties to perform for you. There are so many things pending. Are you calling me back right now? Or do you wish me to stay and do for some more time? He said he just went into the room and he battered closed the door. Although somebody was battering the door, he said, I'll talk to you later. And then he was lying in the bed and thinking seriously, if I have to quit within 6 months or 1 year, what am I supposed to do? Like that, he seriously thought of many, many things. And on Saturday, he made a phone call to him. And the man said, sorry, sir, Saturday is a holiday. So I think we will be able to produce it by Monday, they said. He said, so late? Is that it can be expedited? What could be done to expedite it? If you need more money, we can provide you. If you can. He said, I'll try my best, but to give it on Sunday. So then Sunday, again, when he called up, we asked him, what was it? Was it malignant or benign? On the other side of the phone was not, sound was not coming. So he said, there were a few moments. And I was wondering why he's not speaking. Is he hesitant? Then he said, oh, Maharaj, nothing to worry. It's only benign only. He said, and he kept it down very coolly. Maharaj said, it was like a totally new change. He said, at that time, he told beautiful lessons he told at the end. He said, every one of us have to be prepared in our life for any kind of inevitability that may strike us in our life. The material world we are living in is uncertain and uncontrollable. Situations are uncertain and things are uncontrollable. We are not Supreme Lord Krishna to control everything and everyone. So, therefore, it is always better for us to have that preparedness. Preparedness. Prabhupada says Vidura was living in the palace in a renounced spirit. Prabhupada says we should live in a renounced spirit. What is the meaning of living our life in a renounced spirit? Which means we should know that we may be asked to quit our situation at any time. And we may have to leave this world and go out at any time. Just like I'm living in an apartment now. I can't consider myself owner of this apartment. I'm only a custodian. If I'm a custodian, anytime I may be asked to vacate the place after 11 months agreement or something like that. Similarly, our body also, we are awarded the body for some period of time by Krishna. So we are custodian of the body, bodily machine. And anytime we will be asked to vacate now, this body. And we have to be mentally prepared for that. So, of course, death is a far-fetched thing for many of us immediately. But there are many other in-between uncertainties that will come. Therefore, we are talking about how to remain steady whenever such turbulent situations come in our life. Let us see something more. See, are you confident or are you overwhelmed in life? See, on the left side, you see a student very confident. On the right side, the student is overwhelmed. So in our life also, in certain situations, even though the situation is very difficult, you have confidence. On the other side, you find we become overwhelmed because it goes beyond our ability to handle. Mm. So we have to be like the left side picture, you see. Even in, like that's what it said, when going gets tough, the tough get going. It is said. So then how do we become tough in our consciousness that we will be like a shock absorber, be able to face challenging situations that may come our way? That also we will learn as we proceed today. See here, sometimes we are healthy, sometimes we are sick, sometimes we have to face the death of a near and dear one, as I told you. Here is a nice statement. They say, death leaves a heartache no one can heal, but love leaves a memory no one can steal. It's a very nice statement, no? Isn't it? So there are loving exchanges which remains like a ever fresh memory always in our life. And then there are heartache producing loss of the near and dear ones. So this is also another turmoil. Yeah. Sometimes you hear good news, or sometimes other times you hear bad news. There is a famous shloka Krishna says, Na prakrishyet priyam prapya nodvijet prapya cha priyam sthirabuddhira asammodo brahmani brahmavichyataha. Na prakrishyet, he says, do not become too elated. Don't jump like a monkey. He says, when you get happy news in life, because the happy news will last for a while, but there are also other problems will come. So don't become too excited in happiness. Na prakrishyet priyam prapya. Na udvijet prapya cha apriyam. When you get something apriyam, don't get psychosomatic depression. Because in this world, the situations are not permanent. They always keep changing. Krishna himself says, Agama, apayino, anitya. He says, they come, they stay, they go away. Tam stitikshasva bharata. Therefore, you learn to tolerate them. Like that he says. So, and that is the most important message Lord Krishna gives in 2.14 Bhagavad Gita. There was one king who made an announcement. Whoever brings me the best birthday gift for me, I'm going to give them a big prize, some 5 lakh rupees prize I'm going to give. So many people brought many big gifts for the king. King received all the gifts, but one fellow brought a small box. That's all. It appeared like a very simple box. So the king opened the box and he saw a ring in that. Not even a gold ring, a simple ring. Very cheap ring. Probably he must have spent 100 rupees for that. But that ring got the first prize. Everybody wondered how this man gave a cheap 100 rupees ring and he got a first prize. 5 lakh rupees he got. What was written in that ring? This too shall pass away. That was written there. So the king understood that when happiness comes, you look at the ring. This too shall pass away. So don't jump too much. Then when suffering came in life, you look at the ring. This too shall pass away. That means I don't have to lament too much for my suffering. Because this will pass away after some time. So that is the good news for the living entities in this world. The sufferings are not going to persist. They come, like for example, winter season, people don't like cold, but winter goes away. Summer comes, people don't like heat, but summer goes away. So they come, they stay, and they go away. So don't bother about it so much, Krishna says. And he gives a reason why you should not bother about it. That's very important. This is a very vital point. Because if you are going to bother about it, you will talk about it. For example, if it is very cold for you, you are bothered about it, you will go and tell everybody, it's too cold now today, isn't it? I think we need a sweater now, isn't it? Why the climate should be so cool, The temperature is minus 20 degrees, isn't it? I don't know how long this cold is going to persist. So we keep on talking about it. And we do a lot of prajalpa by that. So if you're going to be bothered about something too much, we talk a lot about it. And in talking about it, our mind becomes clouded with material consciousness. And thus we fail to remember Krishna. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that you restrain your tendency for absorbing your mind in dualities like Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Mana, Apaman. Shita, Ushna is actually summer and winter for the body. And Sukha, Dukkha is pleasure and pain for the mind, and man apaman is honor and dishonor for the ego. You know? So body, mind, ego. So in all the three platforms, Krishna says, tolerate the dualities. Huh? Shita Ushna, Sukha Dukha, Man Apaman. Tolerate it. Hmm. Why you should tolerate it? If you tolerate it, you will get time, energy, focus, and concentration in spiritual life. You'll be able to chant Hare Krishna peacefully if you tolerate it. Jitatmana prashantatma paramatma samahitah shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tata manapamanayoh. Krishna is telling, for one who has restrained, controlled these six dualities, for him super soul is already reached, he's saying. So therefore we will see how we become steady, and by becoming steady we can restrain these dualities and not become carried away by them. Because if we become carried away by them, we will always talk about them. One little story I'll tell you. It will make it even more clear. Like one landlord was living in a compound, and the neighbor also was another landlord. So both of them had one son also. So one day a horse entered into the landlord's compound, and it started grazing and remaining there. So the neighbor came and said, "Oh, you got a good luck. You got a free horse without having to purchase it." And the landlord was a devotee of God. He said, "Oh, it's all Ishwar ki icha. It's all Lord's desire that I got a horse," he said. And after a week, the horse left the place. So the neighbor came and said, "Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that the horse has left you now. So I'm sorry to hear the bad news that it went away." He said, "It's all God's plan, God's desire. Why should we bother about it? God gave it, God took it away. I have no issues," he said. Then after a week, the horse came back along with its mate also. So now husband and wife, two horses came and entered the landlord's place. Neighbor came and said, "Oh, now you have a double good luck. You got two horses now. Earlier only one came. He went and brought one more mate also. Now you got two of them for your work in your farm. You're very fortunate," he said. The man said, "Okay, whatever happens, it's all Lord's arrangement," he was telling. Mm. And one day, the landlord's son was going on the horse. The horse was galloping, tuck, 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 very, very fast. And it galloped so fast that it threw off that boy. The boy fell on the farm ground and he broke his legs. He got a fracture. Then the neighbor came and said, "Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that the horse threw your son off its back and he got a fracture. I'm very sorry to hear." He said, "Anyway, whatever happens, nothing happens without God's knowledge. Everything in this world happens by God's sanction. He must be having some karma. He has to get his fracture. He got it. No problem. He will get through it after a period of time." So he said that because I am confident that not even a blade of grass moves without God's will, therefore this has happened. So I'm not going to bother. I'm going to do whatever best I can, he said. Then the landlord went away. Then a week later, landlord came and said, "It was very good that your son got a fracture. It is good luck," he said. And this man asked why. "Because my son has been taken away by the army in Vietnam War. He got drafted. Because he was hale and healthy, he was drafted. Your son got a fracture, so he was not taken. So in that way, so it's a good luck for you," he was telling. So this fellow said, "That's Ishwar ki icha, it's Lord's will." So you will find these two fellows, and the neighbor's fellow is talking about dualities always. Whereas this landlord, every time that fellow came and spoke to him, "Ishwar ki icha, Ishwar ki icha, Ishwar ki icha." It's a Lord's will, Lord's will, Lord's will. So he is absorbed in what? Lord. Whereas the neighbor was absorbed in dualities. We have the choice in life. What do we want to do in life? Like, for example, there was one brahmachari in a temple. He was a very good preacher. He became a senior devotee, and a lot of congregation people got inspired by his intellectual presentation and everything. Now, eventually, he wanted to marry one lady from the congregation who was a single lady. When diverse lady he wanted to marry. So it naturally affected the congregation. They said, "How can he marry? How can a brahmachari marry a diverse lady? Why can't he marry a girl, Kumari? Why didn't he marry?" Actually, he has to live with the lady, correct? Now, they are not going to live with the lady. And he is marrying, and both parents are agreeing. Her parents, his parents are agreeing. They both are getting married. Lot of people talk about it. Why it happened, and most of the people don't know full information. Also, some of them have some half-baked information. They think that she divorced her husband and married this brahmachari. They're thinking like that. Actually, she wasn't. I mean, she and her husband were planning to divorce for 14 years. They were actually, the case was going on and everything, but they don't know. People don't know. But after she divorced, there was some period of time lapse. After which she was looking for a proper suitable match, and this brahmachari was old and he married. Both parents came together and arranged this marriage, and he got settled peacefully and practicing Krishna consciousness. But some people became extremely disturbed by it, and people started, you know, exaggerating and talking. So by too many such talks, what happens? You see, our mind becomes polluted. Hmm. Mind becomes polluted. It's no good for us, because our tongue and mind are connected. Hmm. So the more we speak about something, our mind becomes absorbed in that subject matter. Hmm. So because people were talking about this subject, many people, therefore their mind became polluted, and they became disturbed in their devotion service, and they gave up the devotion service and went away. Uh, some people saying that, he should have been proper, he was not proper, so we are leaving. Actually, they want some excuse to leave. You show some excuse to leave. If you want to practice Krishna consciousness, nobody can stop you. There are no material impediments for Krishna consciousness at all. So you will find we are living in a Krishna consciousness society. You will see uh, some people come and they stay till last breath, like His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, we saw. All life he practiced wonderfully. He won the heart of so many devotees. At one point of time, he attained Vaikuntha Vas, like that. Then there are some people who will come. They, for a few years, they will show such amazing performance and everything, and then they may sometimes, leave and go. Actually, what one should think when anybody leaves and goes, every jiva is connected to Krishna. Mm. And they have a personal relationship with Krishna. And Krishna is orchestrating with them something. He is maybe purifying them. He may want them to learn some lesson, like with Bharat Maharaj. Lord Krishna orchestrated in such a way that he made him a deer. It appears that he has fallen down. But actually, becoming a deer was very helpful for Bharat, because you will find some 4 special symptoms in the deer. As soon as he was born in Kalanjara mountains, he left the Kalanjara mountain and he came to Pulahashrama. You know, he said, if I live in my birthplace, my relatives and friends will shower me with affection and they will pollute me, and I will get stuck in material life. So let me leave Kalanjara mountain and come to Pulahashrama. Secondly, in Pulahashrama, he didn't eat lushy green grass, although it was abundantly available. He only ate dry grass because he wanted to be austere deer. Not only that, in Pulahashrama, he was also listening to the lectures of the saintly personalities. He wanted to take advantage of that Shravanam process to purify his heart. You will see that not only that, he was constantly shedding tears of repentance. Alas, aho kashtam, he says, how foolish I was. I became attracted to a little deer. I even left my prince. I left my queens. I left my kingdom and treasury, everything. But in the forest, I became attracted to a small deer. And therefore, I became a deer. No one in this world will be more foolish than me. So he repented very bitterly. So by doing all these things, if you see spiritually speaking, as Bharat Maharaj, he was here. As a deer, he was here. Spiritually, he became more advanced by these 4 things which I told you. On the other hand, from material body point of view, Bharat Maharaj was here and deer body was here. So materially, he looks like fallen down. But spiritually, he has become elevated. He got more realization now. So this is not a new thing. Uh, People do learn lessons by committing certain mistakes sometimes. And the mistakes teach them a strong lesson. Like we say, learning through school of hard knocks. So either you can hear and learn what to do, what not to do, or sometimes you can experience and learn. So some people learn by hearing, some people learn by experiencing. But whatever it is, if a devotee is undergoing some difficult situation in his life, neither should we ridicule, nor should we become upset, nor should we spread rumors. We should know that it is a very unique situation. Everybody is put in, Krishna is putting them. And many of us, we know little information, which is, we We can't 100% say I know it. And you can't say I know 100% it is false. Many times there is a yes box, no box, and not sure box. Most of the things we know in this world is in which box? Not sure box. So not sure means you are not sure about everything. Then should we speak about it? It can be offensive. If we take a semi-baked information and we float it, it can become aparad. Like for example, a crow sat on a branch of a tree and a tall fruit fell down. So some four panditas were sitting. First pandita said, because the crow sat, therefore the tall fruit fell down, he said. Another fellow said, no, no, the wind was blowing, therefore the tall fruit fell down, he said. Third fellow said, no, 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 the wind was also blowing, but the fruit was also ripe. Because the fruit was ripe fruit, therefore it easily fell down, he said. Fourth fellow said, Array, you fellows don't understand. The fruit was ripe, wind was blowing, but that was not sufficient. As soon as the crow sat with a heavy push on the branch, then it fell. All the three are true, he was telling. And they were all having a heated argument. The fifth Pandita came there. He picked up the tal fruit, ate and went away. He's the most intelligent fellow, isn't it? So in life, we should always see everything from a Krishna conscious point of view. Anything tells you anything, you should ask him, sir, wait a minute. How can it help me improve my fruit of Krishna consciousness, Krishna prema? If you can help me to uplift me, you are most welcome. If you are going to degrade my consciousness, bye bye. You get lost, go wherever you want. I am not one to be going to be troubled by you. So there are three types of people in this world: people who are uplifting, people who are neutral, and people who degrade your consciousness. And neutral people anyway don't reciprocate with you, so you don't have to bother about them. And degrading people, you have to be very cautious with them. They can pollute your consciousness and degrade you, and it will be difficult for you to get up after that if you keep listening to them. Then there are people who are uplifting in their association. So we should actually long for their association and spend time with them. And even in a very negative situation, they can see positivity. Like I sent two boys to a garden, and when they came back, individually I called them and asked them, what did you see? One of them said, Prabhuji, why this garden is full of thorny bushes? He was asking. Other boy came back and said, Prabhu, your garden is full of blossoming fragrant roses. He said, both the fellows went to the same garden. It is indeed a fact that there were thorny bushes. But one saw the fragrant roses, another one saw the thorny bushes, you see. So we want people who can see blossoming roses in this world always. And they can actually uplift us. We need people who can uplift our consciousness. Because Kali Yuga is full of gossip. So there are 5 types of gossip our Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in his Bhakti Aloka book. Beginning with useless talk, it turns into fault finding. Useless talk turns into argumentation. Argumentation turns into debate, and debate turns into fault finding. Fault finding leads to blasphemy. So a devotee of the Lord should avoid these 5 things, he says. Useless talk and argumentation, debate, and fault finding and blasphemy. One should not indulge in these things and keep oneself sober, calm, cool, collected, and absorb oneself in Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna consciousness is going to take us back to Godhead. Not this useless prajalpa and blasphemy and half-baked information, passing it back and forth. Uh, Talking behind the back, bad mouthing about others. These things are not going to help us. So, therefore, just like, for example, imagine you are sitting in a hospital. 40, 50 patients are sitting. Now, everybody's medical record, is with whom? With the doctor. And he knows somebody has a back pain, somebody has a stomach pain, somebody has a cancer, somebody has a kidney problem, somebody has a heart problem, different problems, he knows. Now, if I am sitting outside, should I criticize and comment about somebody? Hey, look at that fellow, he's catching his chest, maybe he has a heart patient. Look at that fellow, he's keeping in the back, maybe he has a back problem. What do I know about it? I cannot comment about them because I am not the doctor, nor am I going to provide them medicine and cure that problem. Then why talk about it? Neither can I exactly assess the problem, nor can I cure the problem. Best thing is take your japamala and chant Hare Krishna. Don't waste time sitting in a hospital saying he must be having a headache. I think he's catching the head. He's different people commenting about it, because the person who has to talk about it is who? The doctor. And the doctor has a medical record, and doctor is capable of curing that disease also. And they have come not for us, they have come for the doctor only. Similarly, spiritual master is the doctor, and all the disciples are like the patients. So one patient should not waste time talking about the problems of the other patient. Rather, focus on our own problem for which we have come to the doctor. Take the medicine, eat the medicine, get cured. And in case the hospital makes you wait for a couple of hours, take some proper Lilamrit with you. You can sit there and read peacefully, without wasting our time. So in this way, we can rise above the duality of finding fault in anybody. There's a verse which says, Parasvabhava karmani yah prashansati nindati sahyashu brashyate swartat asati abhiniveshatah. This verse says in 11th canto, if you are picking faults in other people, we will become absorbed in samsara and we will be reborn again, he says. So, but we can do one thing. Whenever we find some problem, we can take it to the authorities. Huh? Like, for example, I find a pickpocket in the station. I can catch the boy and hand him over to police. That I can do. That is permitted, handing over to the police. But I should not take the law in my hand. That is not allowed. I can't take the law in my hand. The law should be left to the police. I hand over to the police, and let the police handle it. In the same manner, when we are living with various devotees, some devotee may be undergoing a turmoil, challenge in their life. If you have to report, we report to the spiritual master. Spiritual master is a spiritual guardian. They will do the needful. They know what is best for each devotee, and we should not talk ill about it. And we don't waste our time with it. And we observe and we rise above the dualities, and we focus on Krishna. That's the point. See here again another example. She got A grade and she got F grade. So sometimes they become jubilant. Other times they are sad. Yeah. Some people's business is skyrocketing. Another person's business is collapsing due to COVID, as you see here. Yeah, in COVID time, we saw some companies with 900 crores, company became 300 crores. So these are times of turmoil, challenges. If I am going to identify too much with my business and company, then business collapses, I also get a heart attack. Just like, for example, if I am attracted to my car, say I purchased a Mercedes Benz, blue color car. I went to the shopping mall, kept it outside, went in. And as I purchased some commodities and came out, I saw a correct ball, played by the boys. Somebody was playing cricket. It came and hit the glass. Clang! Like that, it just broke. And immediately I feel my heart is breaking. Some people may get a heart attack also. To the degree we are attached to the car. But then when I get down the steps, weeping and crying and shouting, I find that was not my car. There were two blue cars, and both of them are Benz cars. Uh, so somebody else's car was glass was broken, not my car. Then again, you have a big smile on the face. Thank God, it's not my car; it's someone else's car. See, because of our attachment, we cry and we laugh due to material attachment. We can see that. So, if we are going to have attachment to the external objects, to that degree, we break down or we jump up like that. Therefore, when business collapse, okay, business is collapsing, but you are not collapsing. You are different from the business. So, like here you see everybody respects you, but some people will insult you. You just tolerate it. Go on. See, here is a ship moving in a smooth ocean, isn't it? Very calm, cool, collected ocean. Similarly, in our life also, there are times when situation is calm. But then there are other times when there is a storm like this. So these type of two situations we all will face in our life. See, this boat, it appears it's going to drown. The way it is moving up and down, it looks very dangerous, isn't it? Yeah. So in your life also, when the time of calm comes, what should we do? That's the time for doing sadhana well. Prepare our mind to become stronger. Just like if a mind is like milk, if you mix water with milk, milk becomes diluted. Whereas if you do sadhana, you become mentally and intellectually, spiritually very strong. That's like butter. If you convert milk into butter, then that butter you can put in water. It will not mix. It will always remain aloof. So in the time of calm, we should convert milk into butter by sadhana practices. By sincere and strict and serious sadhana practice, make our consciousness like butter. Of course, butter is very dear to Krishna also. Very so Krishna will love our consciousness and he will steal it if we prepare it like that. And that you can do in the time of calm, like this boat you are saying smoothly. You can sail as quickly as possible to a far distance. And when this comes, time of storm comes, at that time, whatever you did in time of calm will come to help. Mm. Like for example, in the time of calm, one more thing. Example you can give. In our Pune temple, very close to temple, we have a battalion where they do left, right, left practice and all they do. So they do practices. 10 years they practiced. In the 11th year, there was a Kargil war. So all the soldiers came to our Krishna temple, Iskon temple. They offered namaskar and they were going to war. I asked them, where are you going? They said, last 10 years we have been here only practicing. But now the war has come, we have to go now. Similarly, in our lives, there is time of calm. But sometimes there's a time of war. Like you see here. So challenging situations may come. And we have to face them. So what do we do? Hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. Hmm. So what is the best thing that can happen? Put it in one side. And what is the worst thing that can happen? Put it on the other side. And any other combination of possibilities in between can come. So by thinking in advance about these two, our mind becomes pacified by that. Because if you don't have preparedness, if you are not prepared, like examination, a student is writing, I may crack the exam, a NEET exam or IIT JEE or some exam, and I'll get into a very, very great premier institute or Ivy League university. Or I may not crack it, I may fail in the exam, and I may have to write it again next year. That's another thing. The best and the worst. Or I may get average marks, I may not get a very top premier institute. I may get an average institute. Are you prepared for everything in between? If you are mentally prepared for everything, then why worry? There is no need of worry at all. Anything can happen, any of these in between things. So Lord Krishna is teaching that. Hato va praptase swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim tasmaduttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchayah. Hato va, in case you are killed in the battle, Arjuna, you will attain heavenly planets. And in case you win the battle, Arjuna, you will rule the world. Where is the loss for you? Either way, your life is glorious. So perform your duty and be satisfied, happy. Get up and do your duty, Arjuna, like that Krishna is telling. See, if you fell off a cycle, you may get a small wound like this. Or one may get a fracture and bed in a hospital. What is the worst thing that can happen to a person while going on the cycle in a road, in a national highway, something is going, he may die sometimes. A car came and hit him because he was driving a cycle in improper way. So the worst that can happen is accident. The best that can happen is a wound, a small wound, no fracture. Correct, no? So, and any possibility in between also can happen. So mentally, we all should learn this art of recognizing, hope for the best, and be prepared for the worst. Because even if I die in an accident, I will not die permanently because Atma never dies. Atma is actually the resident of the body. So, when the Atma leaves the body, it's going to accept another body. Like, one family was telling that they had a son who had just completed the engineering, but the family had a history of heart problem. Grandfather and father and son, they all had a heart problem. So they had told the son, always keep this tablet with you. Anytime you suddenly face some heart problem, you should immediately swallow the pill. Then you will be relieved. And also the doctor had told that you should not go to great altitudes, high altitudes, mountain and everything. You should not climb and all that. But what happens, young boys, they want to go for trekking with their friends. So this boy went for trekking with some 30, 40 friends. As he climbed up, high altitude, he started facing problem, breathing problem, and he vomited. And he told the friends, I am feeling chest pain, I'll sit here. You all go up, I'll come. But then all the fellows went and he vomited, and then on the spot he passed away. He didn't have the tablet with him. And so sometimes such things happen in this world because the material body is a fragile thing. Anytime it can collapse. Now, naturally, any parent would lament that, alas, if only he had the tablet, how nice it would have been. Or if he avoided going trekking with friends, he's a young boy, he has got long life to live. Why he did that? Yes, it should not have happened. Worst thing happened to him. Okay. But the Atma never dies. When I met them, I told them, you see, this metal body is like a tonic bottle. A tonic bottle, there's an expiry date written. Similarly, in this body also, your son, this much only period was allotted to him. And the time has come now. So, will of Providence made him climb up the mountain and leave the body. You accept it like that. And God gave you the child and he has taken it back. You accept it like that. And then look forward for how you can do some good for him. In those 13 days, reading some second chance book of Srila Prabhupada, or distribute some Bhagavad Gitas, help him get some Bhakti Sukriti and be born in a very good family in the next life. Think of a bright, he is surely a fortunate child, because if he's born in a family where there are some devotees, he's certainly a blessed boy. At least one or two members of the family is a devotee. And eventually, he will be born in a good situation where he will advance. In this world, um, uh, sometimes hoping for the best things may also happen. You'll be jolly. After you go through the turmoil, then you get a good news, then you're happy. But sometimes worst may also happen. But there is nothing to bother in this world ultimately, because Atma never dies. And our relationship with God cannot be stopped by any material means. Therefore, we should hold on to the permanent, not hold on to the temporary. Like here, Prabhupada says, a devotee turns to scriptures for shelter. The Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam are filled with descriptions of inevitability and of change in the material world. And the Gita Bhagavatam, they are full of advice about how to think in those occasions and how to act in times of difficulty. How should we think? How should we behave in such times of changing situations? This is what is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Now let us see in the subsequent slides, I am showing that. So some examples are given here: scarcity of money or food, accidents, or disease or death. There are some examples of upheavals that may happen in this world suddenly, unexpectedly. So Prabhupada is saying there is always some upheaval in the material world, which may be good or evil. One who is not agitated by such material upheavals is unaffected by good and evil, is to be understood to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. Fixed up devotee means he has come to Nishtha stage. He's a fixed up devotee, beyond Anartha Nivritti. He's a fixed up devotee, we say. Sometimes in ISKCON, you will find sometimes a devotee bloops also. The Prabhupada used the word bloop. Bloop means you take a stone and you throw it in the water. Bloop sound comes like that. So Prabhupada coined this new term, bloop. So that means a devotee was like wonderfully performing. Suddenly the devotee vanished from the association of devotees. So some devotees came to Prabhupada and asked, Swamiji, how can we understand this devotee was such a good devotee, practicing very nicely for so many years? Suddenly he has gone away. How do we understand? Prabhupada said, don't be surprised about people who go away. Be surprised about the people who stay all their life. Be surprised about them, because the material world is posing so many challenges, the form of Maya in varieties of ways. So it's natural that living entities who are allured by tempting environments in Maya in various ways, some are gross, some are subtle, they may go away. But those who stay all their life in Krishna consciousness, they are not ordinary. So take their association and be happy and go on with your life. Once His Holiness Jayadut Swami Maharaj came to Pune. He was telling people bigger than you and me have left. So don't think you are a great soul. Don't think you have a halo around your head. Don't have the holier than thou attitude. We should never be self-righteous. But we should think, by grace of Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, I am able to continue my spiritual life. It is only their mercy that is keeping me going. On my own, I have no strength. Therefore, he says, Ekaki amar nahi paya bala hari nama sankirtane. Tumi kripa kori shraddha bindu diya deha Krishna namadhane. He's saying, Ekaki amar nahi paya bal. He's saying, alone on my own, I cannot make it to Goloka, Bhuloka to Goloka. I can't do it. But my Guru's kripa, even a lame man can scale the mountains. Even a blind man can get to see Krishna. Even a dumb man can speak poetry in glorification of Krishna. So, therefore, by depending on the mercy of Hari Guru and Vaishnavas and having firm faith in it, even we can cross over very difficult situations. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that's a famous verse, Matchitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi atachet mahankaram nashoshyasi vinangshasi. Arjuna, Machitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. He says all the durgani means difficult obstacles in your life you can cross over very easily. How? By my mercy, Krishna says. Machitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. By my mercy you will be able to cross over them. So Arjuna, I am not promising you there will be no difficulties in your life. You will get difficulties. But if you remember me, then those difficulties will become very puny. You can cross over them very easily. It won't be difficult for you. Just like if you see the tall buildings, they look very big when you walk on the road. But when you fly in a plane, they look like matchboxes. Similarly, the big problems become small problems when we become transcendental. And we become transcendental by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. More we absorb in spiritual consciousness, we can become transcendental and we can see that the problems become insignificant. Yeah, somebody says like this, I am a devotee, how can it happen to me? People ask like this, how can this happen to me? It can happen to a karmi or a non-devotee. Why is it happening to me? Actually, we all don't know what past account we have. Therefore, many a times one assumption that we make is, I am a wonderful soul. We think if I wear a beautiful tilak, and I wear a devotee attire and look in the mirror, oh, I look like a pure devotee. I look like a wonderful devotee. We think like that. We are not yet one. And we also have some bad account in the past for which the reactions are slowly coming. So, therefore, one shouldn't expect life to be a bed of roses or smooth sailing all the time. There may be some challenges which will come our way. So, we have to accept it as Krishna's arrangement. Prabhupada says here, you see, don't expect smooth sailing in this world. He meant that being devotees of Krishna doesn't protect us from rough seas. The only advantage is Lord will be with us through all our struggle. Arjuna certainly didn't enjoy smooth sailing as he fought against friends and in family in Kurukshetra battle. Krishna's only promise was that he had already accomplished what he wanted Arjuna to do. Arjuna should act as his instrument and Krishna would stand before him on the chariot. See, many devotees ask me, Prabhu, do you think in this life we can go beyond anartha nivritti to, nishtha, then ruchi and asakti and bhava and prema? Prabhu, seems almost impossible. Because I heard that unless you come to prema, you cannot go back to Godhead. Actually, that's a misnomer. Actually, we have to be able to please Krishna. Guru and Krishna are pleased with me. I don't have to bother whether I am an anartha nivritti or nishtha, ruchi or bhava or prema. We don't have to bother. It is their job to take us back. One example I'll tell you. There was one milk drinking brahmachari who came to Shiva's Angan with the secret permission of Srivas. He was hiding in a hiding place, and Mahaprabhu was dancing very powerfully, and all Vaishnavas were also dancing and singing with him. Mahaprabhu suddenly stopped the kirtans and said, "Is there someone here who is not supposed to be here?" He asked. And then Srivas came forward and said, "My dear Lord, there is no atheist here." He said, Mahaprabhu asked, "What does that mean? Who else is here?" "My dear Lord, there was one brahmachari. He's a very, very austere brahmachari. He only drinks milk. And he had a great desire to see a beautiful dance. So I allowed him to hide and watch the dance. I'm very sorry, without your permission, I allowed him to do that," he said. Mahaprabhu said, "Call him here immediately." So he was called. And Mahaprabhu chastised him and said, "You think by being so austere drinking milk, you can attain Krishna? If by drinking milk one can attain Krishna, I will drink 100 glasses of milk every day." Like that, Mahaprabhu said him, "Get out." So he drove him out of that place. And the brahmachari ran away. But when the brahmachari sat outside, he was smiling to himself. At least I could see Lord Chaitanya's dance for a few moments, although I don't deserve it. Uh, I am a simply austere yogi baba. Whereas Chaitanya's devotees are all Shuddha Bhaktas. And I have no adhikar to enter this rasa dance. It's only by the grace of Srivas I was allowed to, witness this beautiful. And this is enough for me, what I received. For all time to come, every day I will cherish this scene which I saw Mahaprabhu dancing so beautifully, so sweetly. When he was thinking like this, Mahaprabhu stopped the kirtan and told the devotees, call the brahmachari inside. Immediately, next moment he was called. Mahaprabhu said he has the right attitude. He took it in a humble spirit. So let him come back and join instantly. So therefore, we have to cultivate the right attitudes and right type of seva bhava. And we keep doing without even bothering whether when will he take me back to his abode. We don't even bother about it. We just keep doing our services faithfully and we'll be called back. Krishna will say, this is enough. Like one man was given a big boulder. God told him that, see, you have to move this boulder from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. So you have to roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, take it and bring it to the top where there's a plateau. You have to roll this roll this boulder and put it in the top. If you bring it back, I would give you 100 out of 100 marks. Then you will attain all perfection. So the man pushed and pushed and pushed the boulder. It was so huge. It was beyond his capacity to push it. 1 week later, God asked him, what happened? Could you push that stone? And that man fell at the feet of God and cried and said, oh Lord, I am telling you that I didn't even move it 1 inch. I tried my best. God laughed and told him, you got 100%, he told him. He asked, how? God said, look into the mirror. Looked in the mirror, he saw he had developed big biceps. Big arms. Simply by making an effort to push the stone. God said, this was my purpose in telling you. By making that effort, you have become healthier now. You see how strong you have become. Similarly, in the path of spiritual life, many times we think that I am still struggling with this, struggling with that. If you keep on persisting in spiritual life without giving up, that persistence itself is very pleasing to Krishna. Satatam kirtayanto mam, Krishna says. Ananyachetaha satatam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabhaha partha nitya yuktasya yogina nitya nitya satata. These are the words Krishna is using. So persistence itself Krishna considers a great quality. Jatayu also persisted while fighting against Ravana. And Jatayu, both wings of Jatayu were cut. And Jatayu came gliding down and fell on the ground in a bloody mess. And at that time also Jatayu was thinking in his mind, although I could not defeat Ravana, I could do one thing, I could delay Ravana. Because when Ravana was a Brahman, no? He was a Brahma Rakshas. So when he wanted to take Sita, he had seen the Panchanga and he had seen one nakshatra. At that time, he wanted to take away Sita because at that nakshatra, if you start a endeavor, you will be successful. So Jatayu also knew Panchanga, how to see. He knew that this fellow is taking at a muhurta. Good time. He will take Sita and Sita will suffer. So I should delay the muhurta, by which I take it from a good muhurta to bad muhurta. If I do that much, by laying down my life, at least Sita will be saved by Ram later on. That's all Jatayu could do. He just delayed the muhurta of Ravana in taking Sita away. And by that, Ram became so pleased and told Jatayu, this evening I am sending you to Vaikuntha abode. Immediately he sent him. So we have to make our part endeavor. Be fixed on Krishna. Don't be attached to a small world of dissolving matter, he says. So now I will tell you 3 concluding statements I will tell you. You can repeat after me. Tolerate reversals externally. Remain cheerful internally. Stay fixed in your duty. So I'll repeat again. Tolerate reversals externally. Remain cheerful internally. Stay fixed in your duty. Okay. So now I will take some questions now. Ananteshwar Prabhu? Anantesh, anybody can ask question, or you have to unmute them?
They can ask the questions, Prabhuji. They
Uh,
can unmute and ask questions.
okay, welcome.
Yeah.
So whatever I spoke to all of you, did it make sense to you? You don't have to ask questions only. You can also speak reflections, or realizations, understanding. Yeah, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Please accept my
Dandavat
blessing.
Pranam.
All goes Prabhupada Guru Maharaj.
Hare
Hare Krishna Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhuji, I thank you so much. And I was actually going through some issues, and then most of the questions I had was answered in this presentation. And I've been practicing for the last 18, 20 years, but I have many faults, and I follow your classes very closely. And there is, you talked about how when we sweat in peace, the more we sweat in peace, the less we bleed in war. So that made a lot of sense. And when you went through your presentation today, thank you so much for that. Prabhuji, in one of your classes, you mentioned about Priti Purna Vivahar and Yukti Purna Prachar. So you mentioned 3 categories of devotees, 1 uplifting, 2 neutral, and 3 who degrades.
Correct.
So what would be our attitude when doing the Priti Purna Vivahar with these kind of devotees? And also, if you could kindly tell us about what are some of the references to go and more read about these 2 concepts of Priti Purna Vivahar and Yukti Purna Prashar. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Thank you. Actually, it is a respect all, associate with a few, reveal your mind in confidence to a very, very few, and take instructions from one. This is the standard for a devotee. Actually, we can respect even an ant. What to speak of respecting all the Vaishnavas? We can respect all Vaishnavas. Even a bad person can be respected. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj respected Dhritarashtra, who was letting Duryodhana do all atrocities. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu respected Ramachandra Puri also. So we can also respect all Vaishnavas. But we have to choose our association. Mahaprabhu refused to associate with Ramdas Vishwas, who came with Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, because he was a Mayavadi. He was chanting Ram's name, but he wanted to merge in Ram. So Mahaprabhu refused to look at him. Mahaprabhu neglected him. That means Mahaprabhu respected all, but he only associated with a few. He didn't let anybody come and sing any song unless it is authorized and screened by Swarup Damodar. Only with them he associated. And then then reveal your mind to a very few, it is said. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed his mind to Sarvabhattacharya, to Ramananda Rai, to Rupa Goswami, to Swarup Damodar. He had a few associates to whom he revealed his mind. And when it came to Vallabhacharya, or Prakash and Saraswati and all, Mahaprabhu would be very careful. He won't reveal his mind fully, although he respected them. And take instructions from one. He took instruction from Ishwarapuri. Similarly, one, when we say, above us there may be one devotee, above him one more devotee, like Prabhupada disciple, and then one devotee. They may all be in one line. That is also called as one only. They are all one because they don't give you equivocal instructions. They all are one only, we say. And with respect learning more about Priti Purna Vyavahar, Yukti Purna Prachara, I would suggest that you could study the Madhya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it's elaborately taught about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dealings with all types of people. Therefore, what I did was Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela is very technical, and Antya Leela is very, very esoteric and very advanced. So I took the Madhya Leela and I read Prabhupada purports line by line by line, and I elaborated. It's available in our recording, probably around 250 1 hour lectures, I think. 1 hour. Entire Madhya Leela I did. If you hear those recordings, you can keep the CC book with you, and I will be reading the line by line, everything I read actually. And little explanation I am giving. So the whole idea is Madhya Leela will teach us Vaishnava Sadachar very well. It's blended with Siddhanta and Sadachar both. But you get more Sadachar in Madhya Leela. You get the Pritipurna Vyavahar comes out very powerfully in Madhya Leela. And also, there is one book by His Holiness Satyabhadas Maharaj. It's called 26 Qualities of a Vaishnava. There's a book also. That also we can read. Very nice. And apart from this book, reading the books, we also have to get a chance to associate with very advanced devotees and see how they deal with each other. When we see advanced Vaishnavas, how they respect each other, how they love each other, how they serve each other, how they are very careful not to offend each other. So watching this personally will have a big impact. Like Prabhupada disciples saw Prabhupada and Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji, how intimate they were. They were talking and joking in Bengali language. Many Western devotees couldn't understand what they were content of their speech, but they knew that they both are jolly with each other. So my spiritual master always used to say, uh, what two people speak to each other is not as important as what they feel for each other. So he would tell us that in the temple when you're living, ask yourself, what is my feeling for different devotees? With some devotees we gel well, with other devotees we have problem. We have some clash or something like that. So we have to cure the heart, and be able to sympathetically look at all devotees. We have to see them with a sympathetic eye, that see every devotee in this world, out of 8 billion population, the devotee, Hare Krishna devotees are a small number, maybe 1 million. Where is 1 million? Where is 8 billion? A small percentage of devotees. So, and these devotees are chanting 16 rounds, rising in the morning and doing so much for Krishna. Let me respect them. Let me be sympathetic to them. Hmm. So, if we can cultivate such feeling. And also, in a Buddha says, don't see the other people as envious of you. You consider them ignorant, he says. Because if you see them as envious, you will become angry on them. If you consider them ignorant, you will feel sympathy for them, he says. So in this way, by having a compassionate disposition towards living beings, we can do Priti Purna Vyavahar with them. And we can also see that living beings are afflicted by 3 gunas and 4 defects also, due to which they commit mistakes. Just let me learn to tolerate it and go on. And not just to keep finding fault with everybody around me. If I find fault with everybody, I can't have any friend at all. They commit mistake, I commit mistake. So let me forgive, forget, and be friendly. So by cultivating these qualities like empathy, compassion, forgive, forget, and be friendly, and recognizing that they are suffering from ignorance and defective senses and 3 gunas and all these things. In this way, one becomes very broad-minded and becomes willing to do Priti Purna Vyavahar with everybody. Is that all right? Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank you.
much, Prabhuji. Prabhu,
Thank you.
just one last request is, can
Yeah.
we contact you through email or something, and can we write to you in case of
You
any
can write to me
questions?
also. Yeah. You can write to voicemedia.pune@gmail.com.
Thank you, Prabhu.
VOICE, voice media, voicemedia.pune, Pune@gmail.com. If you write to me, generally I have like 500-600 mails in my box, but you will get a response in a couple of weeks or so.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such a beautiful and appropriate topic you chose for our Houston devotees. And as we are listening your lecture so regularly, and I listen your all 250 lectures about Madhya Lila, and you talked right now about taking the instructions from one person. So
Yeah.
and you said that it should be in the same parampara. What did you
Yeah.
say? But
Correct.
in our community means it's I'm asking very practically, means how to take instructions from one person, because every person around us has a different mood and they talk according to their own mood now. So
Okay.
and sometimes there is a confliction also. So
Okay.
how to get, and especially when we don't have direct connection with Guru Maharaj, and sometimes they say, what your Guru Maharaj say, do that, but you are not in a position to take the decision that time.
Yeah.
So
you see, one very important thing I would like to share with you about is one is Radhanath Maharaj. Radhanath Maharaj expects all his disciples to align with the local temple authorities, wherever we live, whichever place we live. One example I will tell you. In one particular community abroad, Radhanath Maharaj had gone there and he met the temple president. And there was one Maharaj's disciple in that community who used to do a lot of nice preaching programs and bring a lot of people. And for Maharaj, he had arranged a very beautiful program. Hundreds of people came, and Maharaj gave class also. And then when Maharaj went to the temple, he asked the president, "Oh, that particular disciple of mine, I believe you must be very happy with him. What do you think?" And the temple president's face was very small. It was morose. He said, "Yes, Maharaj, I agree that he is a very skilled man, very talented man. But somehow he always crosses me. If I say north, he will say south. If I say plus, he will say minus. He always, he does great things. I don't want to blaspheme him or offend him, but he doesn't gel with our community, Maharaj. He does his own things independently. And I tried my best to bring him in our fold, to be together as a team, do something. He acts independently. Therefore, I'm not very happy. Because you asked me, I told you. Otherwise, I was not planning to complain to you," like that he said. So next day, Maharaj was supposed to go to his house for prasadam or something, and Maharaj didn't go. Maharaj said, "No, I don't have time," or something like that. So that disciple became shattered. Yesterday we had a big pandal program somewhere I arranged, and then Maharaj is not coming now. Why? Then he asked one of the senior disciples, and the senior disciples told him that Maharaj is a little upset about your disconnectivity with the temple, and you are not able to work with the temple. Maharaj was not very happy about that, you know. And then he said, "Prabhu, the temple has a different orientation. We have different orientation. The temple wants us to distribute books and raise funds, but we want to preach and counsel people and take people ahead in spiritual life and make them more advanced. We have two different vision." Then the senior devotee told him that, "You see, for the sake of the temple authorities, you can also distribute books and give them some good score. And you can also work in bringing some funds from your colleagues because you give them what they want. So they will be satisfied with you. And then balance time you use for preaching and counseling and caring for people. Because if you are living in any temple community, three things are important. You visit the temple regularly on Sundays so that you are in touch with the deities and the devotees in the temple. Secondly, you should render some seva to the deities in that particular temple. Some kind of service meaningful service we should do. Thirdly, we should give some contribution, some monetary contribution to the temple, because temple running is not very easy. Every ISKCON temple to run, the members of the community have to give some contribution. So if you are doing these three things, any temple president will have a smile on his face. He will say, "Oh, they are giving me monetary contribution. They are distributing some Prabhupada's books, doing some seva also. And every Sunday they are visibly present, coming to temple. They are connected to the deities, connected to Prabhupada, connected to ISKCON, connected to me, connected to the temple. They feel very happy." So you all are in Houston, and I know the Houston temple when I came last time. It's one of Samaksha Maharaja's temple, and his successors, his disciples are running the temple. At that time, I think there was one, His Grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu was there, I think, at that time when I met him. He's still there, same devotee, Prabhu? Anandeshwar Prabhu?
Prabhuji, now it's Saranga Thakur Prabhu.
Okay, Saranga Thakur, okay. So at that time, they took me around. The temple was half finished when I came. Many years, probably more than 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It was halfway through. Now I heard it's fully completed and opened also, I heard. Isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
So our His Holiness Raghunath Maharaj always goes to the local temple and he keeps good touch with the temple presidents and he doesn't want any complaints from them. But sometimes it so happens that in certain temples, the Param Puja Radhanath Maharaj's disciple, some senior disciple has been preaching and they were counseling and they made a group of 50 to 100 families, and they were taking ahead. They were going for yatras, they were going for programs and their own programs they were having, and they got a little bit disconnected from the temple because say the temple was far away or the temple programs are not that up to their expectation. Because they expect that let us hear lectures from Chopati devotees like Radha Gopinath Prabhu, Shamanand Prabhu, Gauranga Prabhu, our Vrajavihari Prabhu and people like that, Gaur Gopal Prabhu and all. So they expect that you don't get that type of lecture. So slowly, the leader and the subordinates stop going to temple, don't actively take part, not knowing that the temple authorities are upset in the mind. So one advantage of connecting with the temple, Why His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj also, from the Ranath Maharaj also, from Lokanath Maharaj also in India, they all very much emphasized to their disciples that you should go to the temple, because the institution will go on and on. Some people may come, stay, preach, produce devotees and shelter them, but even if they go away, institution will not go. Institution is there, deities are there, Prabhupada is there, the temple will continue. So everybody should connect with the temple. And apart from going to temple, you can also connect with other leaders, senior godbrothers, from whom we can take inspiration. And by going to temple, there may be some difference in mood in the temple. They may emphasize on certain things. We may have different emphasis. For example, in Pune, I am under two authorities. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj is my GBC, and His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj is also my GBC, two of them. So Gopal Krishna Maharaj says, Radheshyam Prabhu, tell all devotees to distribute books. Tell them to come every Sunday to temple. Tell them to read Prabhupada's books. And tell them to prasadam distribution, Harinam distribution. So we are a missionary movement, like that he says. And as well as Radhanath Maharaj says, I ask him, what do you want, Maharaj? He says, keep devotees happy. Like one big family. I just want, Maharaj, what about a contribution? Don't worry. If they're happy, they will contribute. You don't have to worry about contribution. They will do everything. I just want to see every devotee become happy. And then I asked Maharaj, what I should do to make them happy? He said, you be happy. If you are happy, you will make them happy. He says, Maharaj, how can I be happy? You follow my instructions, you will be happy. So he has no expectation. I several times met him and asked him, Maharaj, what is many of the disciples are asking, what do you want? He told, okay, you can tell them, Trinadapi Shuni Chena, Tarorapi Sakshnana. He said, ask them to be humble, more humble than a blade of grass, be tolerant than a tree, offer respects to all, not blaspheme about any devotee, and don't expect any respect in return. If they live this life, naturally they will do many other good things besides this. Maharaj says a happy and satisfied devotee will not keep quiet. He will do great things for Prabhupada. That is Maharaj's conviction, you see. So these two GBCs, they have two different expectations. But still, when it comes to our community in Pune, we do both. Like Pune, by the grace of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Pune has been ranking first in the world last 3 years, including this year. So that is because Maharaj comes before marathon and after marathon. Both the times he comes. Before marathon to give us a push, after marathon to give us prizes. Both times he has been coming. Last 3 years he has been, I told Maharaj, if you don't come, we will go down to second or third rank. You keep coming, always. Similarly, our devotees go to Bombay Chowpatty temple. From Ranath Maharaj gives yatras and seminars. And so I hear from the gurus and I just transmit it to their disciples. That's I just try to act like a transparent via media. So the same point applies to anybody in any part of the world. The local temple actually is Prabhupada's temple. And you all can know that you are ultimately serving your spiritual master. Actually, my spiritual master also told a devotee that if you are unhappy with your any immediate authority, don't worry, that immediate authority is only an instrument in the Guru Parampara's hands. But you are actually serving your spiritual master. Like your spiritual master, we say, no, Nikunja Yuno Ratikeli Siddhyai, Yaya Libir. We say, no, so he is the one who is awarding your service. And the service may come through some authority. But by your serving, your spiritual master is pleased with you. And Sri Prabhupada is pleased with you. With this understanding and seeing the connectivity in this manner, you can be very happily situated. Is that all right?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
One example, I'll tell you. One example, in one community, one fellow had a tussle with the local leader. So he had a verbal fight also with him at one time. Actually, he wanted to preach before initiation, but the local leader didn't allow him. He said, after initiation only you can start a program. So without local leader's permission, he started a program secretly and told the people, don't tell him. But one of them went and told the leader. The leader came to know, and the leader scolded him. I told you not to start, then how did you start? There was a verbal fight between them. And then he thought, very soon I'll get initiated, and then I can run my program. So he stopped the program and gave it to another initiated devotee. Then he went to his spiritual master and said, Maharaj, I want initiation from you. And Guru said, Oh, when your president, approves you for initiation, then I will give you. So please go and meet the temple president, he said. I mean, he was very uneasy to meet the temple president because he already had a verbal fight. So he went to president and said, my Guru Maharaj just told you to give a letter for me, for my initiation. Like that he said. So the temple president told Prabhu, see, first we both should have a smooth relationship. You are very young, but you don't know proper etiquettes. Before going for first initiation, you need to learn etiquettes. I'll put you under one senior devotee who will guide you. No, I don't want to be under anybody else. I'm directly under my Guru Maharaj, he was telling. Then he called his Guru Maharaj. President called and said, Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, he says he's directly under you. He doesn't want training under anybody. Guru said, no, unless you train him in Vaishnava etiquettes, unless you train him in proper speech and behavior, don't give recommendation for his initiation. After you give recommendation, then only I will initiate him. In front of both Gurus told over phone. And then this young fellow understood, I am connected to Guru through the local temple, GBC and everything. So then gradually it took him almost another 3-4 more years to cool down his head and become friendly with all. Then he looked back and understood, I was a Kanishta Adhikari. In Kanishta says, Kanishta means neophyte. Neophyte means he is new and he also fights. Fight, neophyte. So eventually he gave up all the fight and he became very, sober and well behaved and was peacefully menial services he was doing. One day president called him and said, do you know I'm going to send you to that city? He asked, why Prabhuji, what happened? There's initiation program for you. So this fellow had tears in his eyes. Prabhu, I didn't even remind you for initiation. How did you remember me? He said, how can I not remember? You have become such a wonderful devotee now. Therefore, here is the letter, take it, go and get initiated and come. And his Guru Maharaj also gave. Generally, he would give for each temple separately. But when this letter was given, he also gave him initiation. He came back. So in this way, we all have to repair our relationships with those with whom we don't have a proper relationship. For that, we have to become more mature in spiritual life. Yeah. Somebody else has a question?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for the class, Prabhu. Prabhu, a few days back, I believe it was some coaching institute or somewhere where you were giving a class actually, and you shared with the students that not having a plan is a plan for failure. So just connecting to the spirituality, can you please guide us on maybe like a 5-point agenda to have a plan for a spiritual success in life?
Yeah. Actually, it is said if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It is said. So we should not fail to plan. We always should have a plan. So I will tell you very simple things. I tell the congregation devotees in Pune also, every day at least hear 20 minutes of Srila Prabhupada's lectures. At least 20 to 30 minutes. Actually, many Prabhupada lectures are 30 minutes. And I hear it in double speed. So it comes to 15 minutes only. So I finish 3-4 lectures every day. Very easily. And when do I hear them? When I brush my teeth, when I shave my beard, it's a very good time to hear. And when I'm taking bath, I switch it off. Then after that, when I am wearing the dress and putting tilak, at that time I continue hearing. And I hear during prasad like that. So the 3-4 lectures, if you hear, that will give a very solid foundation. And you can hear your spiritual master's lectures at least 3 hours a week. At least you can hear more if you can. So these two people are very, very important for you. Srila Prabhupada and your spiritual master. So on an average, if you are hearing 20 minutes to half an hour every day Prabhupada, in a week you are completing 2.5 to 3 hours. And similarly, spiritual master also almost 3 hours you are hearing, which means on an average it is 1 hour Shravanam per day. You are able to hear 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour per day of Guru and Prabhupada you are hearing. Over and above that, you can hear from other favorite speakers who inspire you, whose lectures make it easy for you, make spiritual life easy for you. This is about hearing. And reading Prabhupada books, there is a suggestive order given by His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj. He has made a suggestive order. You have that Prabhu with you? Anantesh, you can share with them also, yeah?
Yes, Prabhuji, I will do that.
Yeah. So you can go in the same order. Many initial devotees also say that, Prabhu, I never read all the books. Here and there, few books I've read, they say. Don't say that. Start from the On the Way to Krishna. That's the first book. And then gradually go ahead. Small books, medium books, bigger books, read them. If you find the individual reading difficult, every day have a 15-minute reading group. In India, there is Mukundanand Prabhu who does every day 15 minutes or 20 minutes reading. The night like 8:40 to 9. 20 minutes they have reading group. So reading group means 75% of the time you should read the Prabhupada's purport as it is. And for 25% of the time you can discuss. That means if you are reading for, say, 20 minutes, 15 minutes there should be reading. Only 5 minutes discussion. Like that. That type of reading is very effective. There will be no prajalpa and very nice taking in will happen. And there are devotees, counselors in Pune who are doing it for last 2 years, non-stop. Even single day they haven't stopped. Like Tulasi Prabhu, Mukundanand Prabhu, Shankar Pranit Prabhu, Yugala Priya Mataji, and such people like that. Ananta Dea Mataji. There are many people like that in Pune who are doing it daily, reading Prabhupada books. 20 minutes is not a big deal. So if you're reading 20 minutes every day, 7 into 20, how much? 140 minutes means it comes to 2 hours 20 minutes in a week. So you have 2 hours 20 minutes of reading Prabhupada book, and you also have hearing of Guru and Prabhupada almost 3 hours. So it's a very solid program. For why I am focusing first on hearing and reading. This forms the foundation for your spiritual life. This is called as the watering the devotional creeper of spiritual life. And also when we are hearing, we should be careful not to hear from people who will destroy our faith. Or for example, sometimes we hear for entertainment that only satisfies the mind. Sometimes we hear for intellectual titillation that only satisfies our intelligence. But our hearing should be from the heart. We should actually take shelter of the message we are hearing. And therefore, we have to find out which shiksha affects you. You have to see. If a particular shiksha shakes you and wakes you up, makes you a serious devotee, then you should take that shiksha. It can be any shiksha guru. There can be many, many shiksha gurus and one diksha guru. And it's called as multiple inspiration, singular accountability. We call it. You may have many devotees may inspire. In fact, His Holiness Niranjan Swami Maharaj goes on to say in his book, Caring for Krishna's Devotees, he says, just like when you see Mount Everest, it's a very tall mountain. But by the side of that mountain, there are also smaller mountains. So a person who is going to Himalayas will get to see all the mountains. Similarly, one should not only see one's own spiritual master, one should see other spiritual masters and seniors to be lovable, to be worshipable. And that type of broad understanding should be cultivated, and one shouldn't become a fanatic. Like once one devotee asked His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, one devotee came to me and he was praising his own spiritual master. So what I should do, Maharaj? He was asking. And then this devotee was telling Maharaj, because he was praising his spiritual master, I praised about my spiritual master, he said. Maharaj laughed and said, no, when he is praising his spiritual master, you should join him in praising his spiritual master, he said. But Maharaj, I feel little insecure. We both will be glorifying his guru as very great soul. And what about my guru's glories? Maharaj said, no, Antarmukha Shishya actually means you are mature enough to encourage devotees. You want your guru's glory will not be lost by your glorifying another guru. He said, all these things require maturity. So in this way, we can have a very good hearing and reading program. And in order to digest what you have heard and read, we have to do practical seva. There is one lecture of Vishnu Ranath Maharaj where he says, no realization without service. There is one lecture. That means we cannot get realization unless we do practical menial service. If you see our Prataparudra king, he was taking a broomstick and sweeping in front of Jagannath's cart, and Lord Chaitanya noticed it. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya's mercy came upon him, seeing the Tucha Seva, menial service. So we should do seva in such a way that Krishna's glance will fall upon us, and Krishna will feel pity for us. See, this person is struggling to do this service for me. Let me bestow my mercy upon him. By rendering service, our heart gets cleansed. Shushrusho Dadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. He says, by rendering service to pure devotees of the Lord in two ways. One is by hearing from them, and by serving them. Hearing itself is one type of service. And another service is physical service. You can drive them in a car, or you can give them some gift of some money, donation, or you can cook for them or wash their clothes, and such kind of physical service also. So, what it is said, and this is the third point, after hearing and reading, and second point is serving, menial service attitude, I told you. And the third thing is sadhu sangha, is very, very important. Association of exalted saintly people, whose association wakes us up and shakes us and wakes us. Like Rahugana was shaken up and woken up by Jadabharata's preaching. And Dhritarashtra was shaken up and woken up by Vidura's preaching. Arjuna was shaken up and woken up by Krishna's preaching. You will find that. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, you find many such conversations you find. So, the sadhu sangha actually can purify us and elevate us very fastly. So that sadhu sangha means what? What is the meaning of sadhu sangha? Three things. It's called as spiritual discussion, knowledge transmission, heart transformation. That is called association. Association means there should be spiritual discussions based on the scriptures, and knowledge transmission. So when a sadhu is speaking, the knowledge should be, so we should have upgradation in knowledge, better understanding, and heart transformation. A cruel person should become a compassionate person. A selfish person should become a selfless person. An arrogant person should become a humble person. Impatient person should become a patient person, isn't it? A person who loses his temper, he should become a tolerant person, isn't it? So that kind of a duplicitous person should become a simple person. An envious person should become, free from malice or ill feelings for anybody. So in this way, that kind of transformation of heart is actual goal of life, spiritual life. So spiritual discussion, knowledge transmission, heart transmission, association. And we have to choose the association very carefully, because association, activity, attitude, they three are connected. If you have pure association, you will do pure activities. If you do pure activities, you will have a pure attitude. That means your attitude, your thought, your speech, your words, everything will become purified by that. Therefore, pure association leads to pure activities, pure attitude. And bad association leads to bad activities and impure attitude. These are called 3 A's, we call it. Association, activity, attitude. So in this way, we should do sadhu sangha, which will be purifying and elevating, and we make some tangible progress in spiritual life. You can attend japa retreats sometimes, where you go for 3 days, 4 days for japa retreats, and then you make a lot of progress in the quality of chant japa. As well as Bhakti Brihad Bhagavat Maharaj, as well as Satyanandan Maharaj, as well as Giriraj Maharaj. They all give japa retreats. And His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. There are such exalted personalities. By such a sangha, association of such exalted souls, our enthusiasm also increases. So this is one very important thing. Another very important thing for grihasthas, married people, is giving charity is very important. Actually, we don't know. In the Bhagavatam, there is a verse which says, Shuddhanti dane santushtya. It says, actually, you wash your clothes by putting soap. You wash your hands with water. Similarly, you also wash your money impurities coming along with your earnings by giving charity. In giving charity, you can give tamaguni, rajaguni, sataguni charity, but the Shuddha Sattva charity is giving to pure devotion service, propagation. That is actually, so the charity is very important aspect for grihasthas. And keeping aside some 5%, 10% of one's earnings at least. Prabhupada said 50% of one's earnings should be spent for charity, which is practically impossible for many people. But at least some fixed percent of 10% or something, we should give it to the temple and be sympathetic to the propagation of Krishna consciousness. So giving charity, doing sadhu sangha, and hearing and reading program regularly to purify our consciousness, and also rendering menial service attitude, some sevas. Like in Pune, there is a director of a college, Now, he and his wife would come to temple, and he has got more than 90 counselees under him. So he would wash the plates of the Sunday feast devotees. After they have eaten the food, the plates will come. He'll put it in, dump in one place. So he will take that, wash it with water, and he will wash it, put soap and put it in hot water. So when he started, all his counselees joined him. 80, 90 councils, they also started coming and doing that service. Similarly, there is one Jaydev Prabhu in Pune. He's got more than a couple of hundred councils. So all his councils will be standing at the chapel stand in Janmashtami time, receiving the sandals and keeping it and giving it to devotees. So the whole idea is what? We should be prepared for any type of seva. And there are many Matajis who do garland making and who cook for Rajabhoga. In all our ISKCON temples, you all have seen that. Similarly, men helping in book distribution and preaching and everything. Matajis also help in preaching Bhakti Visha programs. So all of us have to take our own, in a week, at least we should try to take a minimum of 4 hours of service, at least. If possible, 6 hours. 6 hours service, if you're taking, that means 1 hour per day. That's wonderful it is. If it is not possible, at least 3 to 4 hours of some service, some seva, meaningful service, the weekend. So it may not be necessarily connected to temple. You can also do preaching. If you're doing online preaching, that is also service. Only thing is online preaching and all, water preaching we do, it's a white collar service. So we want some menial service also. Menial service means like we wash pots, we sweep the floor, we worship the deity, we distribute Prabhupada's books. Those type of service also we do, apart from sitting and giving lecture in our Vyasasana. Yeah. So we can do these kind of things. And then after finishing Prabhupada's books once through, then we can read more other advanced books, which Prabhupada himself prescribes in his purports. We can read those books also. So if you keep doing these things, then you will find Lord in your heart will give you more ideas on how to enhance the quality of your spiritual life. You can take the 18 items of the Nectar of Instruction book, the first 3 shlokas of NOI, and you can type it out. Vachavekam, Manasavekam, Krodhavekam, Jigvamam, 18 items. And every day you see which item I became a defaulter of which item. I became angry today with some devotee. So Krodhavekam. Another day I overate prasadam, Udaravekam. You put like that. In this way, each day you mark, and then you'll be surprised after 3 months to 6 months, you will find the problems almost are the same. They keep repeating. And then you can find out from other preachers, for this problem, what do I do? Then we can rectify those problems. And that's how we grow out of Anartha Nivritti. Is it all right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
For your association. The community over here, we were lacking for something like this. And also, I would request if once in a while we can arrange, it would be good. Yes, Prabhu. So,
actually, me and Gauranga Prabhu were speaking regarding Houston amongst ourselves. And Gauranga Prabhu was also making this point to me. He was telling that all of you who have been growing very nicely in your spiritual life, many of you got initiated also. And you can actually find out in your community those who are in the temple or connected to the temple, who are doing services and who are active in Krishna consciousness. And you can take their inspiration and help. As I told you, we can have many Shiksha Gurus who can inspire us in our Krishna consciousness. And as I told you, certain vital principles in today's talk, His Holiness Ranath Maharaj wants to see that we all are connected to temple in some way, through some seva, through some contribution, through some temple visits. And even if we find certain deficiencies in certain devotees, we should overlook it. And because ultimately Prabhupada is whose society? I mean, ISKCON is Prabhupada's society, isn't it? Prabhupada said, ISKCON is my body. If you find some problem in the body, it is our duty also to set it right by making some efforts to make the place a better place, rather than turn away from it. So, by regularly visiting ISKCON temples and finding what deficiencies are there, and become a healing cell in rectifying the faults and problems and making the center a better place. And if every community member develops such an attitude, I'm sure any place can become better and better. Every temple has certain difficulties which it undergoes. There is no place in the world where there are no problems. Everywhere there are some problem or the other. And like we say in English, is saying, the other side of the mountain is always green for a goat. Other places look like Vaikuntha and our place looks like problem place for everybody. But actually in every project there will be Krishna says in 18th chapter, when you lit up fire, there is also smoke. He says that. And that doesn't mean Mataji says, oh, smoke has come in my kitchen, so I'm not going to cook today. I'm just going back. She doesn't say that. She continues cooking. In the same manner, we should continue going to temple and taking part in activities and find out devotees who are senior devotees and who can inspire you. Actually, although you can take inspiration from YouTube lectures and everything, it is always good to have some local devotees whom you adore and admire and you respect, and also take one-on-one inspiration from them. One is with some devotee, plus also coming collectively as a group of 5-6 devotees. You can form study groups, 20 minutes each. That will be very effective, as I told you. If not 20 minutes, even 10 minutes per day. Just make it a good habit between sometime. And reading Prabhupada's books systematically will greatly help. And I'll be very happy to answer questions on mail also, if in case somebody wishes to ask questions on specific sections of Prabhupada's purport, something is little difficult to comprehend or something, then I will tell you myself, or if I'm also not able to understand, I will check with my seniors and write back to you. Can do that. So thank you for the opportunity, Anantesha Prabhu. And when I come to US, I am likely to come in May month and may stay till June first week, I think. In case I come to US, I generally go to, I am in East Coast, Boston. I come to Boston. From Boston, I go to Philadelphia, then I go to Atlanta. I go to Seattle, San Jose. These are the temples I have been going. Once I came to Houston long before. But I'll keep in mind, if I'm able to make it to Houston, this time I have to go to Texas also, Texas A&M. Also I have to go. But I will be in touch with you. Krishna willing, if I'm coming in the south area I'm coming, I will connect with you and know how to reach you and get to see all of you once if I can. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Roy.
So